Hey, so welcome to GrassRoots TeeVee. So, as I said on the description for this, main part of this is going to be an interview I've already done with a really great artist called who goes by OneSlutRiot. I always feel slightly uncomfortable saying it. I don't know why. So that'll be coming up in just a few minutes. And yeah, so I'll give you a quick intro to that. As you'll see in the interview, she is off to New York for a master's degree. It sounds like a really great experience, and so obviously it made sense to, if I was going to interview her, it should be now. Due to it being helpful to be in the same physical location. These days with Zoom, as you'll see later, it is totally possible to interview someone anywhere in the world. But obviously that's a different kind of setup. So later on, I'll be introducing Ornagh, who has worked with both me and Sierra for a while. She started up the Nave, which is an art collective that I worked with for a while, or well, I guess still am. So we're going to be having our own little section at a art event called TAA. It's a temporary autonomous art. It's a really interesting event that's been running for decades now. It's all about sort of taking a disused building, getting in there for a week, and just creating art and having the freedom to do that. And so, yeah, obviously because of the nature of the event, I doubt I'll be streaming from there. It's possible, but I'd have to look into, blocking the location and somehow getting the internet connection you need for live streaming in a building that is kind of off the grid, So you will definitely hear more about that in the future. They're definitely worth getting along to, especially if you're an artist. So yeah, one little thing I'm going to do just before we go into Sierra's interview. I'm just going to show you a little bit of video. It's literally like 5 seconds. So. Let it loop a couple of times there. So yeah, if you haven't spotted them already, there are a load of lovely, colourful giraffes, and you'll spot them all around Croydon. So if you're in the area, go check them out. They're all along the high street. There's I had a map. Somewhere on my cluttered desk was a map. I'll see if I can find that in the while Sierra's interview is playing. But good friend of mine, Morgan Davey, has got one of his on the. I think it's the best one in them. I'm trying not to sound surprised on that one. It's really not meant to come out that way. But yeah, he's got his one is called Giraffe Stardust, which is great. And I did get a little interview with him. I haven't looked it over yet. It could be rubbish because there was a lot of background noise. Either way, at some point we'll be chatting to him. Hopefully I'll get him on here as well. We did have a bit of a reminisce about games from our childhood. So I wanted to do a little bit of a retrospective on the Bitmap Brothers, which is a game publisher way back in the day when I was one of those freaks that had an Amiga, not like a SNES or a Mega Drive. So we might have a little game of one of those, and especially because I apparently know someone who works for the company that now owns Bitmap Brothers, so their back catalogue and stuff. So that's interesting. So yeah, that is all to come. But I will now switch over to Sierra's interview. Apologies that there are no subtitles as of yet. There will be when it gets released tomorrow. But hopefully you can listen along, and it's worth watching twice anyway. So if you can't understand some bits, Apologies for that. You know, it is a combination of sort of muffling from bandana mask and and a slight accent. So yeah. Apologies for that. The live one, the interview itself will go live separately to the recording of this, and so you'll be able to view that from tomorrow, I think, possibly Tuesday. I will post updates. Anyway, enjoy.
My name is OneSlutRiot, and I'm London-based painter, drawer, tattoo artist, and I do a bunch of other stuff. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, but primarily functioning in painting. And I've been working in the studio for the last 10 years or so. It's my first studio in London since I graduated uni, and I never left, as you can see around, if you looked around.
it's definitely lifted.
Yeah. Once I graduated from bachelor's, I needed space to work, and I found this studio, which is cooperative. It's great because it's not private landlord owned, and it's not, it's not commercial property. So.
Did you study before you came to the UK as well? Or?
It's banal to say, but I've been drawing since I'm 8 or something, or 9, and battling with my parents to get sent to art school because they thought every little girl wants to paint or draw. And I came to London and found like a very different art scene from what I thought or what I knew about art at the age of 18, which is probably quite normal.
So it was a bit of a shock.
It was a bit of a, actually I can do whatever the hell I want. Like, I can do anything. I can go and paint on walls and no cop's gonna catch me. Not even bother to catch me probably. And go to like big squad parties like TAA and do big murals. I've never done it before, so for me it was a bit eye-opening. And I just, I don't know, I found as well kind of freedom in art and being able to speak about feelings and problems and issues that I've not thought about in my earlier age. It was more just technical and trying to develop skills, but then not so much adding a concept to it.
How do you think you've sort of progressed over that sort of 10 years in this space, say?
When I was younger, I was against everything and was very angry against lots of teenagers are, and hated everything, hated the system, hated this and that, and I just was more focused from kind of aggressive point of view and criticism and showing things that are wrong, and also experimenting with different medias, from just from tags on the walls to collages or advertising or just whatever came on my hands really. And later on I just decided I want to focus more on painting and narrow down because I haven't got actually enough physical hands to do everything I want. And also when I got a bit older I just stopped caring so much about like simple things, and that made me move towards looking more maybe for kind of weird beauty in life, even if that's portraying people who have fought for freedoms and achieved things like for LGBT community or fetish community or differently abled people or you can name it. But so I started more portraying powerful individuals rather than kind of using my own body to criticize everything as well wrong in the world. That's the thing where I'm now, and I think I'm gonna have a big next stage, but I don't know what it is yet.
Deciding on your next stage?
You can't really decide. I think it comes to you. You just get either really blocked for a while, or you just have to start doing something, and then it comes to you. I don't think you can just. Yeah, it's not like a decision to be made.
So yeah, speaking of which, so you've been accepted to
New York Academy of Arts, and they only do postgraduate course, so it's about 100 students, which are all postgraduate level, which is amazing because everyone there is super talented, and you're surrounded in this building where you can walk around and see other people whose work is amazing, and that pushes you really high up as well. You know, you think twice about spending extra hour on Instagram or actually going and drawing or painting. It really, yeah, I'm alone a lot, and most of the time in my studio I'm alone, and when I'm tattooing I'm just really in there, so I'm kind of also alone even though I'm surrounded by people, but I really miss being in like a really heavy creative environment, and I think that's why I really want to go to study, to be there again, and also receive kind of constructive criticism, because being by yourself alone a lot, I think you can really outdo yourself, like, you know, stuck in the same patterns, and start repeating yourself and get stuck in your comfort zone, and just like shaking everything up, I think might be a really good way of even having some space to experiment or take on different subjects or start a whole new research, which I think life in London sometimes can, if you're trying to do 10 things at the same time, you don't really have space for that. At least I don't.
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah.
No one's a superhero.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, it's just priorities, I guess, and it's hard to prioritize creating art that nobody buys or you're not even aiming to sell, and then also trying to survive at the same time.
So you've been doing tattooing and stuff like that. Is that something you're looking to continue later, or are you just sort of like put everything else aside?
Yeah, I will have a good break from it, because this whole year I've been just really, it's boring to even talk about it, but focusing on bureaucracy, how to get to New York and school, and tattooing, and, you know, trying to make myself able to survive there for like 2 years. So I'm gonna have a good old break from tattooing and just focus on this.
Is it sort of become a bit of a distraction then?
I think with tattooing can be really easy for it to take over everything else, because it's obviously much easier financial income, and these days it's just much easier to survive from tattooing than from art. And I know a lot of other artists who just started to tattoo and stopped their art completely, and I've been really battling for it not to affect how I organize my time, but so I have been doing like 3 days of painting, 3 days of tattooing, but then you have 1 day left in a week to cut your nails, you know, or dye your hair, or whatever, or never mind personal life, that's just, so I think I need to put tattooing aside for a bit and just, if I could get to the school, really focus on just use everything they have, because they have amazing resources, and so you need time for that as well, just be like fully in and soak up everything you can, this new city, new art scene, and amazing massive walls, and so much good stuff, which I never say these things about other people's art. I'm like, going together is just like going to a shopping mall, just come out tired and angry. So, and when I went to New York, it wasn't like that, and I didn't even know it can be like that. So.
We sort of first met around a little bit before the Knaves Shame exhibition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, or just like working with the Knave in general?
That was a great experience. I met Ornagh, who was organising one of the first Knave shows, and it was all about that kind of stuff that I was working with, about body dysmorphia and self-esteem and body politics, and it was a little show in Dalston, and I just really get along with people that were involved, and we grew out together into a big collective that involved loads of people, and we tried to organise, and we did organise big shows and projects which were all socially conscious and politically engaged, art, like themed events or shows or exhibitions or workshops, and I think we were going for a good few years and did some little street actions, and we never made any money out of it or anything, and it was never a go, but it was a place where anyone was invited to come and join and bring whatever they can or want or learn or just observe and I don't know, or teach or join in with their own ideas. So I think it was an amazing space, and it still goes. It's a bit different now, but after COVID, it kind of changed everything. But we're still together and we're still a strong crew, I think, and we still really support each other, which is amazing.
And yeah, so between lockdowns, we went off to Milan. How did you find that?
It was called Navigation Italy. It was kind of, as far as I remember, a tiny gap between all the lockdowns that were going and whether we was going to go or not, because the government was changing everything all the time. We went to a little, well, it wasn't really a little cultural centre in there, and I've done a night of it was an art show with a performance, and I've done my first politically infused mural workshop. It was based on how do you get a bunch of people who've never done a mural before, or maybe doesn't even have any artistic ideas, to bring something up together and paint it on the wall in a certain theme. Now I can't remember what the theme was. People who maybe sometimes don't even know their own imagination abilities to bring up certain images based from something that they feel within them about the theme or subject, and put it out on the wall and join it all together. So I think it was a beautiful little project, and for me it was something I've really overstepped myself, even though it sounds minor, but that was also because of Nave and because of support from the group that we had. And you know, we're also in foreigner country and I didn't really know everyone there, so it wasn't massive, but for me it was big. I was like, oh shit, I can do this actually. This is great. Because also some people not even tried to mix colors before, so never mind like put up some big image on the wall. It's not talking about A4 little drawing, but like a human-sized figure. If you've never done this before, you might never even do it, because you might have the same block like I did about doing a workshop. And I know that some participants after started painting and seeing them painting more, so, and we did more murals together as well, so I think it worked out really well. And if that changes one person's ability or trust in themselves, or even enjoying it and thinking they want to do it again in the future, then that's like my goal is reached. I can't ask for more than that, you know.
I always remember that, like, literally in the week leading up to when our flights were, they shut down France, they shut down Spain,
Yeah.
air corridors, like they were all just dropping like flies, and Italy was just holding in there just for us, you know.
And then we came and the building was on fire. I forgot about that. It was just constant, something that happened to us the whole time. I don't know, environmental disasters.
Oh, well, the fire led to a flood, obviously, because the firefighters came in and put the fire out, and then the whole place was just flooded.
Yeah, we had a good mopping session together just before the show.
I don't know if mopping was the word. Pushing the water into the basement.
yeah, that's true.
Then after Milan, we went off to Florence as well.
I drank a lot of wine in Florence, so I have some sort of memory issues. It was very, very wine oriented for me. Try to run and drink wine, that's all.
And it probably didn't help that I was making punch bowls every couple of hours. So work that you've done recently, what you finding, what are you most proud of?
I don't think I liked my work for a very long time, like past a few years, and then I just start to see, you know, what I would have done differently and kind of evolve away from it.
Well, I mean, if you talk about these ones surrounding you, then I think you're crazy. But I think, you know, I will admit.
I like that one. I think that was good as well. That was painted in New York last summer. Like, it took me a week and a half for them to do it. It was just blasting techno and painting until late night. I think the whole school thought I'm a bit crazy because I was dancing with the paintbrush. But it's fine, I can live with that.
So you went out to Europe for how long?
It was a month-long course. It was a summer school, really, so it's kind of a short course which would show what it would be like to be there for 2 years. And it was great. Yeah.
They convinced you then?
Yeah, they totally sold it to me, so I lost my life for the whole year because of that month. Like, you know, private life, what's that? I remember that, so 2020.
So what's the plan for the work?
So I have been given a scholarship, which is great, by my school, but they don't do a full scholarship and I needed to seek out for further funding, and the main organization I was aiming for, it fell through. So my plan for the work now is just to, as little time as I have left, I will try to put it all for sale, and which I've never done before. My website doesn't even have prices under my work. It's just, I don't know, I don't think I cared about it. Like, I never painted it to be, you know, sold. And if anyone ever wanted anything, they could ask me privately, but most of my work is on my website and it's all for sale, even though it doesn't have price tags. When you want to get established church, just get some of my artwork. Work with my mom.
Okay, so yeah, that was the lovely OneSlutRiot. I'm never going to stop being slightly uncomfortable saying that. But yeah, so I'm looking to do a lot more video profiles like that, especially basically just keep knocking them out. There's enough amazing, talented artists around London, and I've got friends in Bristol I can stay with. I've got my older brother has space in Liverpool for me to crash every now and then. So, you know, in terms of sort of like running out of ones like that to do, is never going to happen, because there's new ones coming up all the time as well. So if you are an artist and you think you know, you'd like to do something like that, get in touch. Obviously I've got a dozen, 24 people that I just know I could draw from memory. But yeah, if you're particularly interested, if you've got a show coming up, that's a really good time to do it, obviously, because it is about sort of quid pro quo, you know. You're giving your time, I'm giving my time, and we're both getting something out of it. So that's the way this is going to go. So yeah, 2 seconds, I'll bring on Ornagh. We'll talk a bit more about that. I could see her on the Zoom chat, very much enjoying the interview. I will mention I did spot some technical issues during that, so those will be fixed before the video goes out onto YouTube. And as I say, subtitles for those of you who had any issues with that. I will say one more thing as well. There was an issue I had with filming. I am a bit rusty with this, as I've not been doing a lot of filming or streaming the last year or two. But I'd not noticed that there was a fluorescent light in the room. So if you ever do have that issue, I will do a video about this. But the simple solution is you layer the same video on top of itself with a 1 second delay and a 2 second delay, and then reduce the 1 second delay to 66% opacity, and then the top one to 33% opacity. And so if you watch the video again, what you'll see is there is quite a bit of motion blur, even with like small motions, and that's just due to that. So the flicker goes away, but you get this extra motion blur. So there's a little technical stuff for you. Right, I will now bring Ornagh on, and hopefully this works. Oh, hello.
I'm muted, of course. Hello.
It was her end, obviously. 'Cause I never make technical mistakes like leaving
How are
something on
you?
mute. Yeah, I'm great actually. Yeah, I'm really liking getting back into this. It's been a while. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just back from the beach. I was swimming, and then they had a party at the States. I was dancing, and Lola went to a dog show and won first place in 2 categories. So
Nice.
I've had an amazing day.
Love that double winner. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I was very proud of her. Good, proud dog mama.
Do you know what? I'm going to do a bit of a weird swap around. No, you won't be able to see what I'm doing. I'm going to move your zoom and my thingy because I realised I'm the wrong way. So now it looks a little bit more like I am speaking to you. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, just doing it on the fly there. Yeah. So
I know you're getting back into it. I love to see you back online and doing streaming again. It's I know you're in your element then, so
yeah,
it's good to see.
I definitely enjoy it. And I enjoy it the more the better I prepare. I think so. As I get the studio a little bit more set up, I'll get back into the groove of it. And being someone much like our friend OneSlutRiot,
Yes.
you know,
I s-
I can be quite shy when it comes to the camera. So getting into that habit is really helpful. But yeah,
Definitely.
so you're planning some live streaming stuff as well,
I
Jordan.
am. I am, and it's been such a good chance for us to like get going collaborating again and yeah, inspire each other to, as you said, like everyone, I think, even if you're a confident person, you can be shy behind the camera and everyone hates the sound of their own voice and doesn't, want to put themselves out there. So it's great to have other friends who can inspire you to, take it less personally and care less about silly things because, who cares at the end of the day? And we should be proud of what we create as well, which because I loved your interview there with Slut and just hearing about, her amazing work and her new opportunity. And, it's really interesting. So nice work.
I, 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 I was saying about finding it uncomfortable saying her artist name. Um, Unfortunately, we're in a setting I can't say her real name, so even when everyone else is using, her artist name or even truncated version of it as you do, I'm just like always saying blank, you know. Uh,
That's the English side of you. In Ireland, we don't have that problem. It's not an issue.
well, I've not been to Ireland properly. We've gotten into this discussion before. Like, it depends on your point of view, but I always think I haven't been to Ireland. I've been to Northern Ireland, but I guess that's up to the people who live there. I guess. But yeah,
Sorry, Lola's giving sound effects in the background there. She's very tired after her dog show, so sorry if you picked that up.
no, I didn't hear anything, but yeah, yeah, it was a long day for her then.
Yeah, I have to get you over to Ireland sometime. You would just love it. It's like pubs and drinking, so yeah. Tick tick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair, Belfast was like that too. um, I don't know if I told you the story of Belfast, but I'm not going to tell it on air because I'm
Don't
not sure.
reveal the
I'm not
secrets of
sure.
Belfast.
I'm not sure I come off great in the story. To be fair, it was an interesting
Oh, I
trip.
know you on a night out. We won't share that on the stream though.
Yeah. But no, it came about because my dad won tickets to. He's always entering competitions. We won a weekend trip from Foodie magazine. So it was like
Oh,
all based around food.
amazing.
Yeah, like Michelin starred restaurant on the first night.
Oh,
Um,
so good.
food tour of
Amazing.
Belfast, which being that they are like a lot like the rest of Ireland, their food tour was very boozy, and I will leave it there.
Sounds fair, right. But we've got amazing food as well, also.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
I'm going to bring an example up, which is doesn't sound make it sound like you do. It's like me saying like scouse, the dish, but like champ. Um, the reason I say about champ is just because the woman doing the tour um, took us to this pub, do a nice pint of Guinness, and she's like, "This is the best champ in town." The reason I like it is because it's more potatoed butter than buttered potato. Like the ratio of potato to
I
butter
love
is
that.
like at least 50-50.
I love it. I love it. Oh, you're making me hungry now.
Yeah. I, on that subject, I know we're getting distracted, obviously, but I do
As
remember
usual.
I do remember that did you say you never had cold cannon before I made it for you?
No,
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not very experimental with food. I'm embarrassed to say.
yeah,
So I actually hadn't had it, or didn't have it as a thing. That was so nice, actually. I forgot about
yeah.
that.
because I always thought of it as just this big Irish staple in food, and it's just like somehow
It could well be. It could well be. Yeah, I'm not exact. I think it is. Of course it is, but not in
yeah.
my house.
It's fairly standard for me. We were talking about streaming and creativity, and I've just veered straight into food. It happens all the time.
You've had a full 10 minutes on potatoes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what are you going to be doing in the sort of streaming space when you get down to it?
I've just been really trying to regulate the work that I already do and get it out on stream because like me and you, for example, we've collaborated for so many years now, made so many videos and projects together and had so many of these calls. And the same with, being involved in a collective and having these types of just collaborative meetings online with friends. So there's regular kind of creative partnerships I have on the go, and I'm trying to move them over to Twitch and stream on maybe YouTube, depending on, what work I do with you or what I do with others. But basically just again get content out there, the stuff that we do, because, with our shows, that's the outcome. And yeah, people who attend think they're really fun and see a final moment, but I feel like the whole journey of what we create together in the lead up to these things is really like the fun. It's like the extended fun part. Sometimes actually the nights of shows can be like there's always this amazing high for a night, which is so good and you're running around, but it's a very extreme moment, the output. Whereas as you go along, there's just so much goodness in like understanding how people's creative brains work and how that comes because you might not gravitate to certain art when you see it as standalone, but when you hear the thought process and the stuff that's gone into people's ideas, I think you can get so much appreciation for it. And I've learned that over whatever the past however many years of just seeing this underground art scene and all the amazing work that's going on there, that yeah, it's just really cool and authentic to like the people behind the art. And it definitely has allowed me to learn more about accepting and understanding different types of art I maybe didn't gravitate towards at the beginning. Um, yeah, and it's endlessly fascinating to meet the people behind these like crazy creations. So for me, yeah, I'm just trying to get my stuff out there and my story a little bit, but also my collective story in terms of everyone that I'm working with, because when you make work like this, it's never like one person, especially not, with the type of work that I do. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for the streams is share a story. I'm having a regular Monday meetup with my drag house and G who's a drag queen and collaborator and friend from the Nave, and we've got a couple of other really amazing younger Navi performers, Betsy and Paige, who I've been working on doing some volumetric capture, which is some 360 video out of Maidstone Studios, and we've been having some workshops developing some performance for a kind of like tech up your nightlife experience, where dancers kind of interact with holograms and projections and stuff like that. So our first kind of Twitch meeting on that is tomorrow night, and just like you, really just like take it as we come, put it out there, see what people think. If Twitch isn't working, we'll make something else. If it's all not working, we'll do something else. And if people have an interest, great, we'll continue on. So I'm just really open to whatever comes out of it, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's we're living in a strange time where like that. I'm going to take this off because it's super distracting. Oh no, I can't because then I can't hear you. Right. Okay. Right. I just had a moment there. But yeah, no, it's an amazing kind of place technologically. Just if you just look at the live streaming, I said a few years back, the ability to do an external broadcast, live video, used to be a truck and £1 million, £1 million worth of kit and truck and all of this kind of stuff, and it was literally only possible if you were the BBC or something similar. And now it's £3,000 and it fits in a backpack. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, like being able to tour and like do shows on the road with a suitcase and like my Oculus and my laptop and like a small projector. And
Mm.
I'm like, after doing the stuff we did with the neighbor, it's like giant multiple vans and a million screws and paints and wood and
Yeah.
you're just like such a big thing. And then it's like, hi, I'm here. And I just like put on a show and that was it. It's like been absolute heaven that way.
Yeah.
Though I do think probably the shows I'm doing later this year, I think it is going to be a bit extra, but I hope that those
Mm.
vans are filled with tech gear, you
Mm.
know what I mean? And like costumes. Um,
It is strange for me that how into tech that you've got. I'm just thinking that then you're talking about doing these like 360 camera stuff. You're doing streaming. You're doing Oculus. You've overtaken me in techiness. Like,
who would have
still my
ever thought in a
nerdiness.
million years? Be like, Mark, how do I turn this light bulb on? Like, how do I switch this? I think I just majorly went for it and I was saying as well, it's like you have such a specific skill set in terms of tech that I would never have a fucking clue about. And the same with my new stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm definitely doing some weird, tech stuff, but then there's some really simple things like my mate Lee asked me to go into like a gallery that he'd made on Cyber. And because I wasn't a gamer, I couldn't like jump into the game. So it was like the most basic thing. So I was like, I'd managed to, make a million virtual flowers and build the VR world, but like the simple basic gaming things
Yeah,
like shoot people. I'm like, ah.
yeah.
So
The
it's
instinctive
like
thing
it's
of
very specific.
yeah, the instinctive thing of A is jump. It's just not hardwired in your brain. Whereas I said before
No, it
about
is.
I said before about the Amiga. That came into my house when I was like 3 years old. And at like 4 or 5, I was teaching my mum how to use the word processor. You know, it's that thing of like when that sort of technology is in your house early on, then you've got this sort of like an innate thing. For my thing though is just like, you know, I need to build on that in terms of like actually, putting the time in, doing this daily, weekly, all that kind of stuff. And that's what's next. So yeah,
I think that's so cool for you though. It's like, until you start doing, you can't iron out the cracks, but like it's like with me as well, it's like putting these deadlines in my diary, whatever it is, even if it's like, a smaller show or a collaboration, it's like, even today, like just getting on with you on a Sunday, it's like, right, it gives you the deadline, the reason to show up for it. So I think we kind of learn as we go.
yeah,
And as you were kind of mentioning in the interview earlier, like with COVID, that kind of, we used to just do all this stuff all the time
mm,
naturally and kind of run as a crew, and then everything's kind of rejigged in COVID. So just getting back out there again and just, it's been a process
yeah,
for everyone. Artistically, definitely, because it's so different for everyone, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, going back to COVID, it was a weird one because it did get me onto doing this. I was doing I called it quarantine TV back then. Um, did I say about the jingle? Like
No.
there's a friend of mine, the dungeon master for D&D that I had first, like
Yeah.
and he was watching the live streams, and he eventually he had him on and did some he played some music on one of them, but initially he was watching them and he just got inspired and decided to write me a jingle and perform it and send it across. And it was just like this lovely surprise. I just finished a live stream, which at the time was quite like nerve-wracking, and then suddenly I just get this audio file. It's just like, I hope you don't mind. It was just like, mind. That's amazing.
Oh, you made my day.
Yeah. So I quickly
So
put
cute.
together a animated title, and from a techie side, I was quite proud of how I didn't spend a lot of time on this, but it was, I'd put moving text, all this kind of stuff, but at the front and back I had the green screen color come into the animation, so it was an automatic in and out. I know you've got OBS will have some features of that in there, but I was just like, right, I know how to do it this way, and so did my own custom like one touch into the title sequence with the jingle and everything. So that was lovely. But yeah, this is the thing. Is going to be there's going to be a lot more of this sort of trial and error, trying new stuff. But this seems to be working fine. We got a work.
We're up and running.
Yeah. And for another little bit of nerdiness, it may please you to know that my CPU is running at 1.7% of capacity whilst all of this is going on. So there's a lot more space to do more complicated stuff like animated tiles.
Yeah, I'm excited to play with the emojis.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That's you
Like,
all
blah,
over.
blah, blah,
Like, where's the
CPU. I'm like,
emojis?
what about the emojis?
But yeah, so anything else you want to talk about?
Talk about. Yeah, so like just working on my world at the moment, got my VR assets up on a browser for the first time. So I'm working with Play Canvas at the moment. It basically means that anyone with a headset can enter my game from or my experience or exhibition, hopefully at some point from their browser. So I was really exciting. It's actually told by quite a few people I would be able to do this. So like again, like kind of like what Slut mentioned in her interview, it's like doing these big things that feel like monumental and then like getting, your head floating on a browser. It's like it's alive, like I feel so much. It's when I started with the High 3 network in Folkestone, who's like a partnership between London South Bank University, Canterbury Christchurch University, the Glassworks in Folkestone, and Maidstone Studios. And they were supporting people to get into this tech and use the tech and, giving budget to do certain things and giving support and mentorship and like events and training, like a whole host of things. And it's been so cool to be involved with that network. So many interesting artists and just people with general tech ideas. And just learned so much from it. But when I went there, I wanted to get the assets on the browser. And because I was like this idea of people being able to go and revisit the exhibitions we create again and again, rather than, just being there for one moment and it being gone, you're able to keep things. And I've always been really into like scrapbooking and keeping memories, like just in my life in general and in my practice as a part of my practice. So the thought of kind of having these exhibitions to save, being able to revisit them was just like super exciting to me. So yeah, I got the first assets on the browser, which means that like hopefully, before the end of the year, I will have some kind of ongoing performance space
In the virtual,
enjoy from the browser.
Nice.
And this is the first stage of that, so I'm really happy about it.
Yes. Yeah, I'll look forward to that, and yeah, that could be the first time that you've text-plained something for me.
Yay! I can do it too.
Yeah. But what I realised we didn't talk about actually is what did you think of the interview? Sorry.
Sorry?
What did you think of the interview? I didn't actually ask the before.
Of Slut. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved hearing about like her take on her work and like this exciting period for her and being able to go out there and be around people who have the same skill set as her. And she's always been someone, she's just like her art is like next level and she's a standout artist. And she needed to be around people as talented as her and who challenged her in her medium. And we did that for one another as kids, kind of making something with what we had. And now she's onto her new phase and be challenged in her specific area of art that she's always just shone in. I mean, she does so much with her tattoos and, as I said, with like the collective or social action and, all these, she's so capable and does so much, but I'm so happy to see her just giving herself the time to go and work on her thing. And I just know it's going to go like unbelievable for her. So I'm super proud. And I love hearing that from her, so I really enjoyed it.
It's interesting because like it's so completely different to how anybody talks like in a conversation. You know, generally people just don't sit there and go, "Oh, here is my biography. This is why I'm doing this." These should be things that we talk about more, but.
I know, and you think even with our crew that we would have talked this to death,
Yeah.
right? But I think when we get together, we're just like, woo, making things and running around.
Yeah.
So even yeah, it was just really cool to hear. It's nice to understand people's backgrounds as what make their art. in the way that they do, which is why I'm excited about this kind of regular spot you're holding here to like have a chance to talk with and learn from other interesting artists about their practice.
And it's sort of similar to what you said. I'm never going to get bored of that. I don't think, because you know, someone I've known for years, there's still interesting stuff that comes up. You know,
Yeah.
you know, by rights I should be bored to tits with hearing in this, but clearly not. You know, there's
Well, you do have an interesting group of friends, I'll give you that.
and you know, I need to follow up on the like. Did her mum really get kicked out of church because of her paintings? I wonder, was that just joking? Or it sounds like it actually happened. Was her mum particularly sad about that, not going to church anymore? I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, obviously, if you're watching and you are an artist, get in touch. You know, in all likelihood, you're kind of on a invisible list in my head of people to talk to. But if you're eager to get involved and put some work out there, then great. Obviously, it's not just going to be people doing fine art. I'm going to try and section stuff off, but like music is going to be a big one. And sort of collaborating with people who are already doing stuff like that. There's Kronks Live, runs mostly out of Riff Raffs, so some good friends working on that. I will weight it slightly towards Croydon just because physical proximity again. But yeah, so as people at home can unfortunately see, the timer is counting down. So yeah, where where can people find your stuff?
You broke up there again, sorry.
Sorry, where can people find your stuff?
At Ornagh World, ORNAGH. It's never gets that right. Ornagh World on Instagram. And yeah, at ornagh.com in a week's time. Hopefully, people who have an Oculus can go in and have a look. If not, you can kind of move around the website and see it in its basic form. Nothing like it is in VR, like uncomparable. But still, yeah, you can go out and check it out there. I've also got a couple of shows coming up, one in Hastings, Bottle Art Market next week, and then we've got Open Studios also in Hastings for 2 weeks after. And can't remember anything else off the top of my head, but yeah,
TA?
that's kind of TAA in October. There's another couple of club nights we've got coming up. Oh yeah, I've got something in September at Fountain Road with Joe. It's going to be a big techie digital experimental day, kind of teching up your nightlife and bringing your like authentic club character to the dance floor. So yeah, that's September as well. But I'll let people know dates on the next one.
Cool. It was nice chatting with you, and
Great.
I'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having me. Chat to you.
No worries. Chat to you soon. Okay, so that is the end of the show. So I'll be back next week, but what I'm going to do is I will do Monday as it's Bank Holiday Monday, and what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna try and get along to the Eco Fair, if I'm getting that right, Sutton Carshalton Way. What we're aiming to do is go along there, film a little bit of what's going on, and then do just like a little highlights reel on the fly, which I've done before. I'll post that up again at some point, which is from Pearly Festival, which I don't even know if it runs anymore. But it was a nice process of being there and sort of filming and editing as I went, just throwing it into a timeline. I've got my Adobe Rush, I think it is. But yeah, so I can sort of shoot in 4K on my phone and edit it and then just have that ready to go as soon as I come home, jump on the stream. So yeah, so I'll be back next Bank Holiday Monday, around about the same time. And as we've talking about that. I'm just going to keep sort of plugging away at it. If we get viewers, we get viewers. If not, fine for now. But I'll definitely be pushing it, so apologies if that gets annoying. Anyway, have a good evening, and